Hello and welcome to another episode of Gaming Islam, a show about how video games represent Islam, Muslims, and the Middle East. I'm Ali Reza.
I'm Ghanwa. Today we're playing Heaven's Vault, a 2019 science fiction archaeological adventure game set on a faraway nebula.
History is a science. It's the reconstruction of the past.
It was made by the British independent game studio Inkle, and in it you play as an archaeologist who is trying to solve a murder mystery and then end up uncovering a dark and violent historical past.
So the gameplay in Heaven's Vault consists of traveling on a ship. You sail on a series of what are called rivers in this nebula. It's a vast, interconnected, looping system of rivers. And you travel planet to planet, you talk to various characters. A lot of the game is actually dialogue. At the same time, you have to find artifacts, and you have to try to decode an ancient language whose script you're supposed to be an expert on, but you're gradually learning the language as the game progresses. And as you do all of this, as you talk to people, you find artifacts, you travel planet to planet, you're supposed to uncover this really long and complicated history that's full of intrigue, it's full of murder, but also oppression. And the oppression that is historically articulated in the game is something that's supposed to haunt the present time of the game.
Compared to more action-packed archaeological games like Uncharted or like Tomb Raider, Heaven's Vault is a game that very deliberately chooses to slow you down. So most of the deciphering of the language that you do happens when you're on the ship traveling between different parts of the nebula, and time really stretches out in those moments.
Did I tell you it put me to sleep
several
times?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just kind of cruising, and there's this really pleasant
soothing music,
and you can fall asleep.
So in writing the script for this game, the developers were clearly inspired by the big archaeological finds of the 19th century, and most significantly, the decoding of the Rosetta Stone. And that decoding itself led to the creation of the field that we now think of as Egyptology, which brings up its own images and themes that we'll be talking about again throughout this episode. One of the significant things about the discovery of artifacts like the Rosetta Stone was that they were credited to European scholars who traveled with European armies to places like Egypt to discover and decode these artifacts. But when we think about the history of a field like Egyptology, it is one that has historically erased the politics of military conquest from the act of acquiring and decoding artifacts. And in many ways, so does Heaven's Vault.